Κύριε καθηγητά, μπορείτε να μας πείτε ποιο ακριβώς είναι το σχέδιο το οποίο καταστρώνεται στο παρασκήνιο και υπό ποιες συνθήκες θα το εκτελούσατε?
In March, the finance minister asked if I would help to outline some of the problems and challenges that might have to be faced if Greece were forced out of the euro. So that was essentially the task. It was basically a study group that looked into those questions and tried to outline some of the issues that would have to be dealt with under those conditions. So let's be clear about what was involved here. Reading the public literature, discussing historical experiences that had occurred in Latin America and other places that might be relevant.
Τι ακριβώς περιελάμβανε αυτή η μελέτη σε παραλληλισμό με τις χώρες της Λατινικής Αμερικής?
I was 4 or 5 people at various times, but the details concerned a substantial number of different things. Obviously, one would have to be concerned, for example, about essential supplies. One would have to be concerned about the handling of liquidity. One would have to be concerned about a range of things that would came up, and what we were trying to do, communication strategy of the government, for example, explaining to people how to get through this. That kind of thing would have to be thought through. It was clear that this was a sensitive matter. It was important that we be very discreet, and we were very discreet, in order to assure that we did not disrupt in any way the policy of the government, which, of course, as I said before, is to remain in the euro.
Θα ήθελα να μου πείτε από ποιον πήρατε την εξουσιοδότηση να δουλέψετε πάνω σε αυτό το σχέδιο και αν αυτό το σχέδιο ήταν σε γνώση του Πρωθυπουργού.
Asked to do so by him. His authority came from the Prime Minister, obviously. I last saw the Prime Minister at the end of February, so I had no direct knowledge of the relationship between the Finance Minister and the Prime Minister. But we were confident that we were working under, an appropriate authorization. No question of doing anything else.
Πού σκόνταψε τελικά αυτή η εφαρμογή του Plan B?
Actually, dealing with them would require the involvement of a larger group of people, and for that, authorization would be required. No such authorization ever came, and so the matter stayed at that preliminary stage.
Μιλήσατε για ένα σχέδιο πάνω στο οποίο εργαζόσασταν στα κρυφά, με συναντήσεις με πρόσωπα κλειδιά σε κτίρια ειδικά διαμορφωμένα. Μπορείτε να μας αποκαλύψετε περισσότερες λεπτομέρειες από αυτόν? Όλο αυτό το Plan B που μας περιγράφετε ήταν τελικά ένα πείραμα για σας?
And I do not use the situations that might have consequences for real people for academic purposes. This was something that I was asked to do. I took the responsibility seriously, did it carefully, and that was the end of it. We were mostly concerned with the short-term transitional consequences and the costs and how to keep the effect on people who are potentially vulnerable as small as possible. That was the kind of thing that we were mostly concerned with.
Την ώρα που εσείς εκπονούσατε αυτό το Plan B στο παρασκήνιο, την ίδια στιγμή η ελληνική κυβέρνηση προσπαθούσε να βρει μια συμφωνία με τους θεσμούς και την Ευρώπη και το Διεθνές Νομισματικό Ταμείο. Υπάρχουν πολλοί που λένε ότι αυτό το Plan B υπέσκαπτε ουσιαστικά τις προσπάθειες της κυβέρνησης για την επίτευξη ενός έγκαιρου deal, μιας έγκαιρης συμφωνίας. Το αποδέχεστε αυτό?
We were engaged upon was utterly disconnected from the negotiations and had no influence or bearing whatsoever on the negotiating position of the Greek government. It would never have been appropriate for it to be any other way. We were essentially providing a background preparation for the case where extremely disagreeable things might be forced on Greece. The Greek government was always and remains committed to staying in the euro. Our task was not to prepare for a different decision, which wasn't going to happen, and which we did not expect, but to assist with thinking through the problems that might have to be dealt with if the Greek government were forced to take a different course. So I want to be very clear about that. We were not planning on, plotting or planning a change of policy. We weren't engaged in policy in any way. No, it's not part of our intention to have any influence over Greek policy. but only if, in the circumstances, and I think it's known to the world, that there are elements among Greece's international European partners, and specifically, one can think of the position taken by the German finance minister, Dr. Schäuble, that this might be something that would be imposed. And if it were, the Greek government would have to deal with the consequences. So one had to do a little bit of advance to begin to outline the kinds of issues and problems that would have to be faced.
Ισχύει, κύριε καθηγητά, ότι το 2010 είχατε αναμειχθεί ενεργά ως σύμβουλος του Γιώργου Παπανδρέου στην εκπόνηση του μνημονίου που υπέγραψε η Ελλάδα?
I visited Greece rather early in Prime Minister Papandreou's term and met with him, but I was not in any sense involved in any substantial work of the Greek government at that time. You may know my family and the Papandreou family had relationships going back to the 1940s.